Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Philosoph's videos. Today I'm going to show you another Shogun 2 multiplayer battle. I'm actually playing against the same opponent I played last time. I kinda recognized his name, I just wasn't totally sure until I actually saw his two retainers that he was using against me, and then I was sure who it was. Pretty much I knew his army's composition by knowing him from my last battle, which was just like 24 hours before that, so it was a good thing I took a lot of Naginatas because he's gonna be using a lot of cav, and I do have some of my own cav and my archers to try and deal with his matchlocks, because I'm pretty sure he's going to have a Portuguese unit of gunners, matchlocks, whatever they are called, then mounted mounted gunners, and so when I saw that this map has only two key buildings, I knew that I had to take both of them if I wanted to survive all those matchlocks, especially because one of them was the workshop, which gives the defenses an extra armor, while the other one is a sword dojo, which is going to give me a boost for all of my melee infantry. Now I set my formation standard with my general in the middle, a warrior monk next to him, bows in the front, with bow samurai and bow monks. In the first rank of my group number 1, where I had the infantry, I had the Naginata, samurai Naginata, and then on the flanks the no-dachis. Now I did bring this one extra DLC unit, this Naginata cavalry, which I put on my left flank to go through the forest, be unnoticed, and take over the key building that's actually closest to him. I knew that he would take it first. I had no chance to get there first because it was closer to him, but I also had to make sure to take my key building first and then secure it by placing my army in front of it. Now I chose to shift click and send this unit of cavalry to slowly march through the forest, because while being in a forest and far away from enemy units, a unit is hidden, and you can see this by the small icon above the unit in its card. In the bottom left corner you can see that there is a small tree icon above a unit. That means it's hidden in a forest, and I'm going to take this unit of cavalry slowly to get closer and closer to his key building. Once he captures it and he moves his army to engage me, I'm going to get my cavalry out of the forest, dismount it, and take over his building. I'm just hoping he won't leave any units behind. Now I quickly take a look at his army just to confirm that he's taking the same or close to the same army he did the last time, and then I'm sending my main army to capture the workshop. Like I said, it will give me the bonus for armor and melee defense, which I will need in order to stand up to his long range units and his cavalry charges. Now I did make a little stupid mistake here. I changed the formation of my Naginata spears, and instead of holding the shift key, I think, to have them slowly change formation, I let go the right click and they changed formation instantly by running, and therefore were seen. Now it seems that he didn't really notice or didn't care to notice, because he already had all of his cavalry on this flank going for my key building, so it was a good thing, even though I made that small mistake, that my cavalry did not get noticed. You see that he has split up his army. His cavalry is in one part of the map while his infantry is on the second, taking over the key building. Now I was thinking of using this as a moment to attack him, and you can see me setting up my cavalry in formation for charges, my bowmen closer, my whole army closer, but then he pulled back and I saw that I wouldn't be able to pull off an attack on his cavalry while his main force is away. Now I just proceeded to keep capping the building to take over the workshop and get my units in formation for attack, and expecting his army to come towards me. Now I kept trying to go forward with my bows to try and shoot at his cavalry, but it's kinda pointless to shoot in a unit inside a forest. You can barely do any damage to it. You can see that he kept his infantry up there to cap the sword dojo, and now that he has it, he's going to start moving his infantry and his matchlocks towards me. Now I decided to keep my enemy on his toes and attack his general with my light cav. I kind of hoped for Possibility that I might wound or kill his general with the light cav, it's always a possibility. It usually happens only when the general has lost enough of his bodyguard in his unit, but sometimes it's possible for it to happen even before that. So I just charged in bravely with my light cav, and then I was thinking about joining the engagement with more of my cavalry, but cavalry does badly inside the forest, like I learned in one of my previous battles, and then I decided to pull back instead. Now, since I've already engaged my enemy and he, I think, will soon start moving his main army, I decided to move mine also to get closer to him and try to prevent him from going behind me and take over the workshop while I'm trying to engage him. So I was just trying to keep him as busy as possible so that I would have the time to capture both of the key buildings. And now that I saw that he moved his infantry far enough, I just sprinted with my cavalry to capture the sword dojo from him. Luckily for me, he didn't make any counter moves, nor did he send his cavalry there, nor his infantry, even though he did have a bucket load of attendants, both sword and naginata attendants, but he chose not to leave any at the key building nor take them there after he must have seen me taking over his key building, but he just decided to wait for the engagement. Now, since he set up his army on this part of the forest and behind this hill, I decided to place my units as well in a forest just across from his. I saw that some of his units were not in the forest, that I could shoot them with my bows, so I decided to speed up that process, and because they were no-dachi, which have the lowest armor, just 2, I decided to speed up my units and start shooting at them as soon as possible to get some kills. Now you can see over there that his matchlocks are set up, all of his spear units and his naginatas are there as well, and his cavalry is hidden through the forest. Now I inspire my bow samurai to increase their reload speed so they could get off a few more shots before his no-dachi disappeared in a forest being hidden or just rushed me. Now I saw the I think those were the Veka raiders on the left, and so I decided to just charge in with my cavalry, pulling back the other cavalry to support. But he did counter with his own cavalry, and then only after clicking on it did I see that it was actually the Mountain Gunners, or a variant of them from the DLC. And it was kind of too late, and my Yari Cav got butchered. One volley took out 55 units, if I'm not mistaken, out of that cavalry units. So I was like, okay, what the hell, I already lost it. Let's try and just get something from this. I tried to shoot at his cavalry with my units, I even moved my entire army there, but I realized it kinda was pointless to chase after his cavalry with my infantry and my damaged cavalry, so I just pulled back. Now, I was expecting his general to charge my unit capping his key building. I'm not sure why he did not do this. Maybe he knew I was gonna engage, and so thinking that, I went like, well, what the hell, I'm going to just engage his main army, and that will probably keep him away from capping the key building and scaring off my main units. Now, because I know from previous experience that those Portuguese guns have very high armor, I'm using fire arrows on them, while charging his attendants, which are his front ranks for some reason, even though they're extremely weak, with my infantry, which is pretty much gonna break them instantly as they are already routing. Now I'm trying to get my no-dachis through the middle, through his formation, in order to charge those guns before he can actually fight me. Now I'm putting my naginata cavalry back on their horses because I know that I'm going to need them. I'm now sending my 1 Yari cavalry against his 3 cavalry units, popping the rally with my general, and I kinda missed on the stand and fight. For some reason it didn't activate, which is actually good this time around, because I will need it a little bit later. Now I chose to use the whistling arrows because I failed to rush his gunners, Portuguese gunners, with my no-dachis, and that was pretty much everything that I could do in that engagement. Down there with the cavalry, you see that 2 of my Yari cavalry units are now engaging his. I managed to get a good back attack with my damaged one, and now I finally remembered to use the bonsai and attack his gunners with my no-dachi, which are going to reach them while I win the middle of the infantry engagement. Now this is pretty much where I already knew that I won this battle, because my infantry corps destroyed his, and his cavalry is pretty well damaged after all those engagements. His only unit that held on was the hero, the monk hero, which I actually managed to start routing because it was under the effect of like 2 or even 3 debuffs from for morale, plus flank, plus back attack, so it pretty much started to rout. Now I was trying to use my bows to shoot at his cavalry while he was finishing up killing my Yari cav, and then I realized that I might as well move my units because I still haven't killed his gunners nor his cavalry gunners. The problem was that I was very close to getting his Portuguese infantry gunners with my no-dachis, but I didn't notice that, and I pulled back my no-dachi just when they were catching up to them, which is going to bite me in the ass a little bit later. Luckily for me, my units were still strong, even though he kept shooting at me, and the problem was I didn't have much cavalry to fight him or catch up to him. The only cavalry I had left was the Naginata cav, which is going to be successful in doing that just a bit later. Now he did attack me with his cavalry, and he rushed at my monk hero, which kind of took the brunt of it. He lost about 5 or 7 men from the charges, because that's pretty much the only way you can kill a hero unit, just charging it, because a charge is actually more powerful than fighting, prolonged fighting, because a hero unit is very good at fighting, but it is bad at taking a charge from the enemy. So my opponent did that very well. Now as I saw that I was gonna get shot to pieces by his Daikyu samurai, his mounted gunners, his unit of matchlocks, the Portuguese gunners, I decided to move all of my units towards a better position on top of this hill and into cover in the forest. That will prevent his Daikyu samurai from being effective, while it will also hide my units, and if a unit is hidden, it cannot be shot at by the guns. You will notice then he is going to come closer with his guns in order to get a shot at me, and that will allow me to charge him with my Naginata cavalry, which is here and ready for that job. Now I'm just reforming my ranks, seeing to the Naginata spearmen, samurai spearmen being forward. Well, I shouldn't say spearmen, if I would say Naginata, because Naginata and spear are 2 different weapons. So, like I said, Naginata samurai in the front and the no-dachi in the middle of the formation, with the long Yariash going to my back to protect me from his cavalry charges. He still has 3 cavalry units, one of them being his general, ready to rush me. Now, since I do have so many Naginatas and even a long Yariash, I'm not really worried about his cavalry, although his constant attacks by his range units are the thing that really annoys me. So now I choose to get my bows to try and shoot at his cavalry, but then I realize I can't really do much because they're inside the forest, I'm shooting outside of a forest, so it's really hard to get any effective kills with the bows. Now you can see I'm reforming my ranks once again to prevent his charge from getting to my general. I was kind of open at this moment and my general wasn't protected, but my enemy failed to use this opportunity to attack me. Luckily for me, he shot his volley into my infantry and not my Naginata cavalry, so I was able to rush his gunners, his Portuguese gunners with my Naginata cavalry, still having around 20 horsemen, and that kind of helped me a lot, because if he had shot at them and not the infantry, I wouldn't have anything to catch up to him. Now I used some fire arrows on his cavalry, and that's the moment when he decided he might as well rush me instead of getting shot at by my bows. He did first try to run, but then a few seconds later he came back. Now you can see, even though that was a huge unit of Portuguese gunners, I was still able to rush them effectively with my cavalry, and now I'm going to add a Naginata unit to it. You can see his last ditch attack with the cavalry, but it was a failure from start because he simply had too few units and I had too many spears and Naginatas. Now I'm going to keep shooting at his gunners with my bows. Now, I think he used a morale debuff on my units. I'm not entirely sure which one was. Oh, it seems to be Warcry. Just not sure which unit of his had Warcry. Maybe he's general, although since when do generals have Warcry? Oh, possibly the Naginata cavalry had Warcry, right. But in any event, that was just not going to do much against my units because most of them have about 10 morale, and reducing them by 2 isn't gonna do much unless you are actually attacking them from behind or flanks. You can see that here I'm catching up to his Daiku Samurai with my no-dachis, which are pretty much exhausted, but they do manage to get a few kills. I almost caught that on camera, but failed, and that was pretty much the battle. He simply had no more units to fight me with. So that was it. GG for my opponent, he really did provide me with a challenge. I am going to show you the kills for units here, and that's pretty much the end of this battle. Thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for more.